Welcome back to FM Story. We ended the last episode in second place in the league. We'd guaranteed our spot in the playoffs. Can we push on and win promotion to the Premier League at the first attempt? Let's find out. If you do enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And without further ado, let's get going. So since the last episode, we've played one game. And that was a game away at Birmingham, which we ended up winning 2-1. We did get pulled back fairly early on, but we managed to hold on and see the game out with a 2-1 victory. Because of the way the other results went, we are now in a position whereby we are pretty close to being promoted. Norwich have already been promoted. We're 21 points clear of Burnley in third with 7 games left. So as long as we don't lose the next game, we're promoted. The next game though is against Norwich, so there's a bit of added thing. So if we as long as we don't lose, we're promoted. If we win, we go level on points with them. Obviously, unless it's a hammering, we're going to be behind them still on goal difference. But there's still a chance of us going up as champions. So going into the game against Norwich, we've brought Jack Vale into the starting lineup. We've brought Brian Hedges back into the starting lineup as well. We're playing Ben Diaz through the middle. We do have Matthias Sula on the bench, who came on for a little bit in the game against Birmingham, just to get a bit of a run out. Obviously still not fit enough to be anywhere near the starting lineup, but hopefully we can keep bringing him on. And hopefully we can just put in a decent performance and at least, if nothing else, assure ourselves of promotion. Right. Oh, can we break on them? Blackburn Diaz. Not many people getting forward, but he's gone all the way. He's still got it. Morton, Travis. Oh, a pretty quiet first half. I mean, despite the fact we've had 4 shots on target, we've only got an XG of 0.24. Straight from the kickoff. Right, Silva to Wharton, Stevens, Morton, Jack Vale, loses out. Went Idas through. Not the best start to the second half though. Right, Wharton, Buckley, long ball to Hedges. Can we get a cross in? Gallagher, Hedges, and there's Jack Vale again. He does seem to pop up in the second half of games. Like pretty much all of his best appearances, whether he's come on as a sub at half time or even when he started, like his best performances definitely seem to be in the second half of games. Oh, and they've blocked the cross. Wharton. Travis has gone wide to Vale. Blackburn Diaz. What a finish. Vale just nods it on. Blackburn Diaz 1 touch and then smashes it past the keeper. Can we? Oh, and they've hit the post. Gallagher. Oh, Vale's nicked the ball back. Travis to Hedges. Gallagher. And that is us promoted. Brilliant stuff. That looked a long way off at the start of the season after that first game, where we threw away that 2-1 lead. But promoted, level on points at the top, 6 games left to try and win the championship. we've made it to the final day of the season and we have clinched the championship. Obviously, we did beat Norwich to go level on points with them at the top. We could have gone actually clear at the top on our own when we played Hull, but we lost that. But then we picked up again after that. So we'd beat Norwich. We hammered Huddersfield, and that was despite us going behind early on. We ended up winning 5-2 there. We lost the next game against Hull because we were abysmal. We played sort of 50 minutes with 10 men. We then bounced back to hammer Coventry, another hat-trick from Ben Brereton Diaz. And we were 5-0 up at half-time, which gave us a chance to take off some players and give them a bit of a rest. We followed that up with a televised victory against against Preston. We followed that up with a televised victory against Preston. We had left Ben Brereton Diaz out at the starting line just because he was struggling a bit fitness-wise. And Sam Gallagher came up big with a couple of goals. And Jack Vale picked up a late goal just to seal the victory. And then we played Luton at home on the penultimate day of the season. And we easily won 3-0. They had a couple of decent chances that they didn't take, but that was enough. Norwich seemed to have just dropped off a little bit at the end of the season. So in terms of the league table going into the last day of the season, we're sitting on 105 points. Norwich have got 100 points, so both of us are obviously promoted. We are going for the record though, so if we do win the last game of the season away at Millwall, we will finish with the record points for the division. Ben Brereton Diaz has got 43 goals now. Tyler Morton's still top of the assist charts with 13 there. And we are number 1 and number 2 with a bullet in the terms of the yellow cards. So Callum Britton's just picked up his 15th yellow card, so he's now facing another 3-game ban. So he's going to be out for the last game of the season and the first couple of games of next season. And all we've got left is this Millwall game. We're going into this last game of the season with a bit of a rejig team just to give some players a game. Obviously, if we win, we get the record. If not, we're still champions. It doesn't really make much of a difference. So we've brought Joe Rankin-Costello in at right back because Callum Britton's suspended. Hayden Carter and Dominic Hyam are playing the centre of defence, and Scott Wharton and Antonio Silva are dropped to the bench because they're knackered. Wharton and Morton are going to play together in the centre of midfield. Ben Brereton Diaz is going to play behind Sam Gallagher with Sula and Jack Vale coming in from the flanks. And hopefully we can just end on a high note, end the season with another victory. Not much happening early on. Nothing much to play for. Millwall are safe in 17th. We've already won the title. We've had a lot of the ball. Morton's free kick, Hayden Carter at the back post, and they've cleared it off the line. Right, Rankin-Costello volleys it clear. That was an interesting bit of defending in the centre of the box there. Not really sure what he was trying to do. It's a long ball over the top of the fullback. He volleys the cross across. The defender just didn't do much of anything. And their player at the back post could just steer it home. And that's why Hilton wasn't number 1 and why he's moving on in the summer. That looked as though it went straight through his hands. Maybe it doesn't look as bad from that replay as it did originally. Right, Wharton gets the ball across. And Jack Vale picks up another goal. He's been a real threat coming in off that left-hand side in the second half of the season. Lovely ball to the back post. Heads it past the keeper. That could have been a lot worse. Not at the races at all in that half. Right, we're probing straight away from the kickoff. Hedges. Oh, got the ball back. Stevens, Vale. Lovely ball through jump. Oh, just too heavy a touch. Vale's put Buckley through again. What a finish that is. Off the underside of the bar. It's a lovely ball through by Vale. 1 touch, 2 touches. Lifts it over the keeper, off the underside of the bar and in. Morton with the corner. And now they're going to break on us. We've let them get up the pitch far, far too easily there. And no pressure on the ball either. We've let them do whatever they want with it. Decent finish in the end. Vale. Wide to Rankin Costello. And that's a penalty. Burton Diaz steps up. Oh, and the keeper saved it with his feet in the corner of the goal. Not the best way to end the season, but all in all, a massively successful season. To think at the start of the season you wouldn't have thought we would go up as champions. Youngest squad in the league, and we've done it relatively easily. We've already done a bit of business for the summer, which we'll have a look at in a second. The big thing is, can we keep Antonio Silva? We tried to sign him and the contract wasn't within reach in terms of the minimum free release clause that was needed. But hopefully we can do a deal there, or at least keep him on loan for another season. So in terms of the transfers, Joe Hilton and Sam Burns are both leaving at the end of the contract. And then incoming, we've got a couple of young players coming in from Premier League clubs. So Brian Wars coming in, obviously just to beef up the youth team, and so is Tino Quemina. We also early on in January agreed a deal to sign Arthur Zagre to sort of provide options at left back. Obviously with Ender Stevens' loan deal ending, and obviously with his age, we weren't going to sign him on a permanent deal. And then the one permanent deal we have done for a fee is we've signed Yari Visharan from Anderlecht, who can provide cover across any number of positions in the formation that we use. Especially, it was a relatively cheap deal. And like I say, hopefully we can go back and get Antonio Silva sorted as well. And so it's time for the end of season review. So in terms of the new arrivals, in terms of the players we signed, so we signed Antonio Silva, A+, really outstanding performances. You can see why he's so highly rated. The only other player, well, the other players we signed, so we signed Ender Stevens on loan. Came in and did a job when we desperately needed a left back on deadline day because of the injury to Harry Pickering. But he's coming in and done a great job and been a big part of the success. And then Matthias Sula, who we got on loan, obviously he picked up an injury. Didn't really see much of him, but the deal was so good because we didn't have to pay a penny in terms of wages or in terms of a loan fee. So, in terms of the league, obviously we finished first. Ben Burton Diaz scored 43 goals. The supporters are very happy with the team. A+. I mean, it didn't look great when we lost on that opening day of the season, from 2-1 up to concede 2 late goals to lose 3-2 to QPR. But we've ended up winning the league by 5 points, finishing 22 points clear of Burnley in third, which is a big thing for the supporters as well. In terms of the FA Cup, we made it to the 5th round. We had 2 fairly comfortable victories against lower league teams, and then got hammered by Wigan in the 5th round. Really not at the races in terms of that. And in terms of the Carabao Cup, we won the first round and then lost on penalties to Fleetwood. So the biggest win was obviously the 5-0 win against Middlesbrough, which was hot on the heels of getting hammered by Sunderland on Boxing Day in the previous game. And yeah, everything pretty good. Some really decent goals we scored. So for that one to be goal of the season, I'm a bit surprised. So we did start the season playing with 3 at the back, but we weren't creating an awful lot of chances, so we did move it so that we could play with that sort of front 4 that we've played with most of the season. Jack Vale only really came into the team just before the break for the World Cup, and he was one of the breakout players that we've got. I mean, Ben Bertrand-Diaz obviously gets the headlines. He's got 46 goals in 51 games. But Tyler Morton was great in terms of creating chances. And Buckley as well, 12 goals, 10 assists. Couldn't ask for much more than that. And so during the season, manager of the month for November, March and April, Ben Bertrand-Diaz undoubtedly, well, unsurprisingly, player of the season, young player of the season, top goal scorer, most player, man of the match awards, highest average rating, broke some records as well for most goals in a season. Tyler Morton got the most assists in a season, and all in all, a brilliant season. It couldn't have gone much better. And so the dynamic timeline, so obviously we took over in June. Not much in terms of the dynamic timeline early on in the season, but then obviously we started signing some of the young players. Our youth intake was a really good intake. Got promoted, record points haul for Blackburn in the Championship, won the Championship, and obviously Ben Bertrand-Diaz with 46 goals in the season. And so in terms of the support, what happened with the supporter profile, the number of family supporters have gone down, but the fair weather supporters have gone up. Social media's gone up. They're pretty happy with what we're doing, and obviously they've changed a few things. So the thing, one of the things last season that the supporters wanted was to finish above Preston. Obviously we're not in the same division, so basically they want to develop players using the youth system, play attacking football, possession football, entertaining football, high tempo pressing football, which is what we're doing, and get the better of rivals Burnley if we happen to play against them. So in terms of the vision from the board, develop players using the club's youth system, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team. They're disappointed, but we've got 4 or 5 of them ready to come in. Basically the same stuff as what the supporters were looking for. They're happy with us being within the wage budget, but that's only because we got an increase, obviously having been given promotion. So really they just want to attempt to avoid relegation. I would hope we can do better than that, but we might need to do it more. And that's the end of this episode and the end of the first season. Join us next time to see how we get on in the transfer market during the summer and see how we can start our first season in the Premier League.